Welcome to today's Explainer. We're tackling a massive universal headache that honestly, almost every facility manager or business owner is going to face eventually. Okay, let's jump right in. We're talking about finding a reliable B2B cleaning vendor in Hartford County. Look, if you manage a commercial space, I don't care if it's a daycare, a bustling restaurant, or a massive office block, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Outsourcing your cleaning, it literally seems like it should be the simplest thing in the world, right? Yet somehow, it consistently ends up being one of the absolute most frustrating operational hurdles you deal with. Well, today we're diving deep into a source that breaks down exactly why this keeps happening and, more importantly, how you can systematically solve it.
Our source gives us this fantastic grounding philosophy right out of the gate. It states that the best commercial cleaning company is simply the one that shows up, does what was agreed upon, and keeps the same standard month after month. Now pay attention to that rule of three right there. Notice what's missing? There's no mention of flashy technology, no mention of the absolute cheapest bid. It totally validates what you probably already know deep down in your gut. As a business, your real core desire is long-term consistency. You absolutely do not want a vendor who comes in, knocks it out of the park on day one, and then just slowly fades into total mediocrity. You want a partner who respects that baseline agreement every single time, without you constantly having to look over their shoulder. So when we really look closely at what drives people crazy, the source data shows a super clear pattern across Hartford businesses when things go south. First up, we've got what is notoriously known in the industry as the 90-day drop-off. You know the drill. A vendor starts out super strong, but give it a few months and suddenly, the corners stop getting swept. The trash gets missed. The overall quality just completely plummets. Second frustration, the operational stress of juggling multiple vendors. Imagine you hire one company for your daily trash and vacuuming, right? But then, oh wait, you have to hunt down and hire a completely different, specialized crew to strip the floors or clean the carpets. It turns into a total logistical nightmare. Managing just one cleaning contract is hard enough. Trying to coordinate 2 or 3 different crews just to keep a building functioning is a massive, massive drain on your time and energy.
So let's move into Section 1, the 5 pillars of quality. How do we actually fix these pain points? Well, the source lays out this brilliant objective evaluation framework that honestly every single facility manager in Hartford should be using right now. It boils down to the 5 pillars of quality. 1. Service range. Basically, can they handle everything you need under one single roof? 2. Reliability. 3. Staff trust, which is absolutely crucial for places like schools and medical offices where you're handing over after-hours access to vulnerable spaces. 4. Pricing transparency. No vague billing based on time, just clear costs for clear outcomes. And finally, 5. Local responsiveness. Let me tell you, these 5 elements are the ultimate dividing line. They are literally what separates your average fly-by-night cleaning crews from exceptional, long-term operational partners.
Now, the framework heavily highlights the most critical pillar of the bunch, and that is reliability. But it's not just about showing up. It is explicitly about not degrading after those first 90 days. So the really crucial takeaway here is that the 90-day benchmark is the ultimate litmus test for any vendor you bring into your building. Consistency, as our source points out, matters so much more than one incredibly impressive initial visit. Because if they can't maintain that exact same standard on day 91, they aren't truly reliable.
All right, bringing us to Section 2, national brands versus local providers.
When businesses finally realize they need a better vendor, they almost always hit this fork in the road. Over on one side, you've got the national brands. We're talking big names like ServiceMaster, ABM, Jani-King. Sure, they have massive name recognition, but the source points out a really significant risk here. They operate on a franchise model. And what does that mean for you? It means your actual service quality is entirely dependent on the individual franchise owner, not that shiny corporate logo. Plus, when issues pop up, they usually get routed through some massive regional call center. Now contrast that with a seasoned local provider. Here, you get a direct local manager, a market-specific reputation that they actually have to protect, and a proven track record right in your own backyard.
Just think about this for a second. It's a Tuesday morning, you walk into your office, and boom, there's been a massive water leak. Or maybe the carpets are totally ruined right before a huge client visit. If something needs to change immediately, you desperately need to reach a real person who actually knows your facility. You do not want to be waiting on hold with a regional call center located 3 states away, right? Having that direct line to a local decision maker, that is absolutely going to save your sanity in those high-stress, worst-case scenario moments.
Moving right along to Section 3, what businesses actually need.
Okay, so what are the actual actionable steps to secure a vendor that meets all these criteria? The businesses that successfully navigate this space do 3 very specific things. First off, they vet vendors incredibly carefully before signing a single thing. They dig deep into local references. Second, they demand a written scope of work, and this is huge because this is exactly how you avoid those annoying hidden fees and unapproved add-ons that somehow just magically appear on an invoice. And third, they confirm crew leader accountability. You absolutely have to know that there is a specific person on the actual job site taking real ownership of the result every single night.
Which leads us to Section 4, the Detail Clean solution.
So, you're probably wondering who in Hartford actually fits this rigorous framework. Well, our source introduces Detail Clean LLC. And what's really fascinating here is that they aren't just presented as another cleaning company. They're basically presented as the logical embodiment of those 5 pillars we just broke down. Let's look at this number, 16. That is the number of years Detail Clean has been in continuous operation in the Hartford market, starting way back in 2009. And why does that number matter so much? Because it's concrete, irrefutable proof that they survived the dreaded 90-day drop-off test. A commercial cleaning company simply does not last 16 years in one city unless clients keep calling them back, month after month, year after year.
Now take that longevity and pair it with this next number, over 250. This represents their vast local footprint all across Hartford County. We're talking about handling nonprofits in Cromwell, daycares in West Hartford, post-renovation restaurants in downtown Hartford, and corporate office buildings all over the region. It shows a seriously deep, tested capacity to handle incredibly diverse commercial environments. Because let's be real, handling a daycare requires vastly different care and a much different attention to detail than cleaning up a chaotic post-renovation restaurant. The fact that they successfully adapt to both, that proves some serious operational maturity.
Let's actually connect Detail Clean's operational model directly back to those pillars we discussed earlier. First, they are locally owned and operated right out of Hartford, definitely not a franchise. Their owners are actively involved in the daily operations, which guarantees that local responsiveness we stressed. They also place an accountable crew leader on every single job, locking in that crucial staff trust. And when it comes to pricing transparency, they provide written quotes well before any work begins, strictly guaranteeing that the final invoice is going to match the quote with 0 hidden fees.
And that brings us to Section 5, Comprehensive Services.
But what about that final, totally elusive pillar, service range? How do you actually avoid the nightmare of juggling multiple vendors? Well, Detail Clean offers a massive scope. On one hand, you've got your routine maintenance. We're talking daily janitorial programs, regular office cleaning, window cleaning, all the essentials. But on the other hand, they offer these heavy-duty specialty services. Things like floor stripping and waxing, electrostatic disinfectant fogging, intensive post-construction cleanup, and even water damage restoration. The source makes a really powerful point about this. Clients who start out with just basic office cleaning regularly end up adding floor care or post-construction cleanup without ever having to go through the headache of changing vendors. The mantra here is just brilliant. One call, one crew, one invoice. So I really want you to stop and think about your own facility right now. Is your current cleaning vendor actually keeping their 90-day promise? Are they delivering the exact same standard today that they did on the very first day they confidently walked into your building? Or have you maybe just slowly accepted a drop in quality simply because finding a new vendor feels like way too much work? Hey, it's a tough question, but answering it honestly is absolutely the first step toward reclaiming your time and peace of mind.
Listen, if you are finally ready to stop juggling vendors and stop settling for that awful 90-day drop-off, the source actually notes a pretty strong incentive to make the switch right now. Detail Clean LLC is currently offering 50% off your first month for recurring commercial cleaning. They are based right on Ledyard Street in Hartford, open 24 hours a day during the week, and they provide absolutely free estimates with 0 obligation. Ultimately, the big question you have to ask yourself is this: how much time, energy, and sanity are you losing by settling for the 90-day drop-off? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this helps you finally solve your own Hartford cleaning conundrum.